all of our pictures last time, and so I decided to reorganize this, and we'll finish off those images. We got a lot of good stuff to talk about.
Well, I tell you, you had so many pictures last time. The depth of research is just incredible that you've done, Freeman. And I want to compliment you on that. You know, it took me 5 years to put my new book out, Codex Magica, so I well understand the incredible discipline and work that it takes.
It does.
You had an astonishing array of pictures and photos, and each one of those means something. You know, there's a whole message being sent out by images now, and people, I believe, I don't know if you agree with me on this, I think you do, but people, their minds are literally being programmed.
Definitely.
Controlled, mesmerized. There is a form of hypnotism, and I believe the people doing it, some of the chief elite in the whole world, literally are occult magicians.
Absolutely. I mean, right from the get-go, ABC, NBC, and CBS, those are all Kabbalistic symbols.
Yes, they are. They are AOL.
AOL.
Yeah, the whole field of corporate logos.
Hold that there, Shag.
Now, Hooters, I'm not so sure about Hooters having any occult significance, but maybe the audience might like it.
Well, go back an image there, Shag.
Decoration. Well, they are given a sign with their hand.
Yeah, I talked them into that.
Okay.
Because if you see, the Olympic symbol, I wasn't really planning on, it was the next one, but the Olympic symbol, of course, is the 5 rings of Venus, and put on there by Hitler. But I wanted to get to the goddess, because now here she stands on our Capitol, holding her pentagram.
Lady Liberty, that's right. Texas Capitol, huh?
Well,
and our U.S. Capitol, too.
Right.
There's a different form of this same goddess.
Exactly.
If she is the chief patroness, spiritual guide, let's say, of Texas, then she must also be the one that we must look to, adore, venerate, honor, and maybe worship in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
So she is an important, and yet, if you go out on the streets of Austin, if you go down Congress Avenue, or any street in America, of any city, and ask 10 people, what does the goddess on top of that Capitol building signify? They would have no answer for you.
None.
They might say liberty,
right,
like the Statue of Liberty, but other than that, they have no understanding. You mentioned Venus. You brought in an ancient god, or goddess, I should say, the love goddess, Venus. But who does this signify, and what does it mean? And I thought America was a Christian nation.
Yes.
So what would a goddess like Venus or a Greco-Roman goddess have to do with anything, Freeman?
That's the biggest question. I mean, Tex, when we get to the bottom of that question and why the Freemasons worship this goddess, I think we'll have something. I mean, I think we'll really start to understand what they're after.
Yes, and maybe what the secret societies have intended for America, and even for Texas, because Texas has a role, because Texas, and I am a very patriotic Texan. From the time I was a kid, I always thought that there was only 2 nations, Texas and the United States, that mattered, and Texas was first on the order of priorities. So I am a very patriotic Texan. But nevertheless, it always fascinated me when I began to understand that even our founding fathers, if you call them of Texas, were Freemasons, members of a secret society.
Stephen Austin, absolutely.
So maybe the fact that Texas was taken from Mexico has something to do with the Masonic Lodge, secret societies.
Well, yes, and wasn't it Santa Anna was also a Freemason, right?
Yeah, and so maybe it was a, let's say, friendly war between an alliance of tribes within secret societies. Secret societies often war with each other even.
Yes.
Jockey for position, power. There are many secret societies, but I believe behind all of them, there is a human group that we would call the Illuminati. And then behind that, I believe there are devil powers, literally demon powers.
They absolutely call upon demons. I mean, they admit this. They go into their lodge, they cast their wine and oil and corn, and they call upon the different entities to come in. And I've read, I think it was Churchward, who was saying that, well, they called in all the wrong spirits and it was chaos. We didn't know what to do.
It's interesting. I was at the largest, here in Austin, we have the largest New Age occult bookstore in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And in South Austin. And I was talking to the owner some years ago. He's a nice gentleman.
Hold on there, Shag.
And we mentioned how much chaos there seemed to be among the New Age occult world. And he said, well, many in the New Age occult world worship the god of chaos.
Yes, they do.
That's what he told me.
Yes, they do.
You were talking about that before the program.
I was at New Orleans, and the Knights of Chaos opened the whole parade, and they called it the Babylon Parade. And they had the Bacchus Parade, the Chaos Parade. They were throwing Hades cups at us. And I meant to bring those little things with me, but you probably wouldn't have been able to see them on the screen anyway. But yes, I mean, that was just... When it's just amazing to see that no one really realizes what's going on. It's become a party. It's become a...
No, you meant Bacchus. The Bacchanalian they used to have in ancient Europe. What is that all about? Of course, they had sexual orgies. They worshipped the gods of the underworld and all kinds of things. The devil, really, all the images we have of the devil, they would have prominent in the Bacchanalia. And here we have it at Mardi Gras.
Mm-hmm.
And yet many people say, well, Mardi Gras has something to do with the Catholic Church,
right.
and the Lenten season coming on, but it actually has something to do with devils.
Yes.
And the Catholic Church just sort of threw in their little bit in it. And I'm not insulting the Catholic Church. I'm simply saying maybe they need to strip out what they do from the Bacchanalia of the Mardi Gras, which is really a heathen pagan ceremony.
It absolutely was. Here, Chad, go back real quick to the goddess again. He was moving forward.
There is a goddess named Hecate, the Ather, of the owl.
Right. Well, that's what I was going to show.
That image. We'll get back to that maybe.
Now, one thing I noticed about the goddess on the Capitol is her strange facial features. Now, some people say that she was designed that way so that she looked almost human from the ground. Mm-hmm. But I started looking into the Babylonian images, and that's how they depict their gods and goddesses with these large eyes.
She's very strong. She supposedly is a virgin. But it really means that no one is able to divine her mind. So she's virgin in terms of being especially gifted in knowledge, and no one has been able to penetrate her wisdom. But it's interesting, she also is a hermaphrodite in a sense.
Yes.
Both male and female. And remember the god worshipped by the Knights Templar, one of the ancient secret societies that Freemasonry was spun out of. The Knights Templar worshipped the horrible devil god Baphomet.
Right.
And Baphomet was a horned god, supposedly male, but had female breasts.
Right.
A hermaphrodite. So it looks to be the facial features here, you're absolutely right, Freeman, are masculine.
And they're very Babylonian also.
In Washington, D.C., we have the goddess in her warrior garb and headdress.
A Native American, it seems.
Yeah, almost Native American, because there are feathers in her headdress.
Yeah.
Now, at the Parthenon, I don't know if you have anything on the Parthenon.
No.
In Nashville, Tennessee, they have a great statue of the goddess.
Athena. Yes.
Yeah, Athena. She was the goddess of wisdom. We go back now to the owl.
Right. Now, that's why I threw this picture of the Hooters girls in there. You see?
Hooters.
Yes.
Oh, now I get the connection. I tell you, it takes a wise guy to get the connections.
They're subtle.
Yeah.
Okay, now we can move on.
I never realized that, the Hooters.
Yes.
Oh, there's more than... And the feminine thing. I know it's their breast they're talking about. I assume it is.
But there's the owl.
Wow.
And, of course, I caught this shot right there with the moon. That's the full moon hanging out over the pyramid.
Isn't that something?
And, of course, she's a lunar deity.
Now, this is the building in downtown Austin.
Yes.
Wow.
The Frost Bank, which, of course, is surrounded by pentagrams. The whole base of the building has pentagrams all around the base.
Oh, wow.
Inverted and right side up. It doesn't, both of them.
Throughout the world, there are satanic architecture. There are monuments.
Mm-hmm.
Stony Beast is what we could call them.
Yeah.
Here's a Stony Beast right here in Austin, Texas. And then we have this symbol here. And I can't remember. Now, there is the Bohemian Grove. That could be theirs.
That is.
Okay, that's the Bohemian Grove.
Okay, go on.
The secret society out in California that meets once a year, and mainly, they have the various sects, and the Republicans seem to gravitate to the Bohemian Grove. But then there's so many other different secret
I just
societies.
learned that a number of the Grateful Dead are also members of Bohemian Grove.
But on the other hand, Senator or Vice President Al Gore says that the Grateful Dead were his favorite group.
Oh, I bet.
And I have a picture of Albert Gore wearing one of their ties. Jerry Garcia, the lead guy of the Grateful Dead, designed.
Right.
They had these ties that cost a lot of money.
And of course, they were originally called
the Grateful Dead concerts. Albert Gore. Now he's a Democrat, so it is true. Not a dime's worth of difference between the.
No.
Now
originally they were called the Warlocks.
Oh, the Warlocks.
Yeah.
Oh, so witches.
Yes.
It's interesting, though. We now know for sure from declassified Central Intelligence Agency documents that Jerry Garcia was working for the CIA.
Absolutely.
Spreading all this LSD and drugs to everybody, encouraging the kids to think about necromancy and communication with the dead, promoting the drug revolution. He was a CIA operative.
Yes.
Isn't that an amazing thing? So some people who worship Jerry Garcia, seems to be their anti-establishment, but he was par excellence establishment.
People hate to hear that.
What a deceit we have in America today.
It is so subtle, and it's all around us. It's like, the Brotherhood is the filter that the stars rise up through. So here we have Demi Moore. And, of course, she was a rising star.
Yeah.
And she just had a Kabbalistic wedding.
Yeah, she is a Kabbalist. And she's married to Ashton Kutcher, a Jewish Kabbalist. Well, they had the Hollywood Oscars this week, and it was basically a Jewish festival.
Right.
And we're not talking about...
It was.
Yeah, it was. It's not... In fact, there's an article that I saw in Jerusalem Post that came out yesterday, and it said... They say we own Hollywood. We do. So what? As a Jerusalem Post, we own it now. We're finally willing to admit it.
Well, how could they hide it?
Well, they really can. The Jon Stewart, who emceed the awards, was Jewish.
Right.
Sandra Bullock, bless her heart, and I love her. She's Jewish. So we have a Jewish festival. They own Hollywood. They've always owned it. A man named Gabriel wrote a book some years ago, and Jews actually bought the book in great numbers. It was called An Empire of Their Own, How the Jews Took Over and Now Control Hollywood.
Well, have a look at this clip. Play this clip, Shag. This is Madonna.
The Material Girl.
The Material Girl, and, because she was such a whore, and then represents the Madonna, right? She is.
Oh, I see what you mean. She's the mother,
epitome of the whore of Babylon.
Yet it's a mocking of Mary.
Exactly.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, and her videos express that.
Yes, we've got war, hell on wheels.
There's always, it seems, something about to blow up around Madonna, which brings us to the latest controversy. Her new documentary, I'm Going to Tell You a Secret. Clearly, her belief in Kabbalah, the study of Jewish mysticism, has deeply affected her. Is the young woman who once so publicly rejected the Catholic faith of her childhood now Jewish? You attend Jewish services now.
Well, that's what some people think. I don't attend Jewish services.
Straighten us out.
Well, I hear the Torah, but I'm not Jewish, nor have I converted to Judaism. I think I'm connecting to something that predates religion.
Okay, hold it there. The Jews who are not Jews, they openly admit they practice this Kabbalism. Hollywood's rife with it. But yet, we're all left out of the loop, What's going on,
Well, first of all, you have to ask yourself, what is the Kabbalah, the Jewish Kabbalah? It's spelled about 3 ways, but whichever way it's spelled, it means the same thing. Now, if we look at the Kabbalah, it's a system of sorcery, witchcraft, and magic. And there are a number of Jews who are opposed to the Kabbalah. We need to know that first of all.
Right.
And yet there are even Orthodox Jewish rabbis, the Lubavitchers and others, who have embraced Kabbalah. But Kabbalah comes really, literally, all the way back from Babylon.
Yes.
And it was Babylonian magic of the worst kind. And it polluted the the Jewish religion and faith. But today, there's not only the Talmud, which is the holy book of the Jews, but there's the Kabbalah. Now, there are many volumes. The Zohar is probably the most prominent. But what I want people to know, it is a combination of many occult disciplines, numerology, astrology, literally making the Hebrew alphabet into idols. And colors. There's even colors that make it. If you notice, she was wearing red. That's the primary color of the Kabbalah and also of the Whore of Babylon, according to the book of Revelation, the Bible, Revelation 17.
Wait, go back.
Now, Albert Pike, who was Sovereign Grand Commander of Freemasonry back in the Civil War, and he is actually recognized and honored by Freemasons around the world as the par excellence role model for all Masons. I see you have his book here.
Yes, that was given to me at the Temple of the 33rd.
Yeah, here we have Morals and Dogma, the classic textbook of Freemasonry. We have the double-headed eagle symbol on the front cover.
I got some of that on there. So.
Okay, now, Albert Pike said this about Freemasonry in this very book. He says that Freemasonry is based almost totally on the Kabbalah.
Yes.
Jewish magic.
Yes.
And many Jewish rabbis have admitted this, and they say that in all of the rituals of Freemasonry, you will find the Kabbalah, the system of magic of the Jews. For example, the 30th degree of Freemasonry is the Knights of Kadosh.
Yes.
And it involves skulls and black robes and a knight laying in a coffin speaking from the dead.
Yes.
And all of this turning to the god of the underworld, the gods of the underworld, is all related to Jewish Kabbalah because they believe in necromancy, communication with the dead. And they also believe that it is their goal as gods, once you become a Kabbalistic master, and they believe that in the last days, a Kabbalistic master will come upon the earth, and there will be a Jewish utopia, a new world order of the Jews, and all Gentiles who convert at least to Kabbalah. Now, they don't have to convert to Judaism.
Right, as Madonna was saying.
But they must go along with what are called the Noahide laws and be good Gentiles and go along with Kabbalah. And if they recognize that the Holy Spirit is the serpent, the great universal serpent, they actually believe the one swallowing his tail, the Ouroboros serpent, is the Holy Spirit. And by the way, that's also taught in the 32nd degree of Freemasonry, that is, the serpent is the Holy Spirit. And he is going to encircle the earth with his doctrine and bring forth this great Kabbalistic master. We would call him the Antichrist in Christianity, to be honest. So this is just a number of their doctrines. Now, Madonna may have got into it because she likes the magic. She thinks she can get miracles from it.
Right.
She can enhance her power.
Well, she raised to the top.
Yeah, she can be like a witch who can charm the world and bring enchantment. Yeah, she has raised to the top by worshiping, I think, nothing but Lucifer.
Yes.
And look at her.
Oh, this is Brittany.
Oh,
now,
Brittany.
One picture there. She actually passed on the Madonna-ship to Brittany, and then Madonna became Esther.
You know, I never had thought of that till you told me about that, Freeman. That kiss.
The kiss.
Because in all of the Kabbalistic secret society rituals, they are based on a foundation of tantra, or sexual ritual.
Yes.
And that's the meaning, by the way, of the G in Freemasonry. You have the square and the compass, and they're mounted on each other. It's the male mounting the female, and they become as one. So here we see a beginning of the sexual act on TV. And notice also you have the wedding of white and black.
Exactly, yes.
Everything is done in a ritual here. It's an amazing thing. Notice that Madonna, facing the audience, she is to the left in terms of her orientation, not the audience's.
Right.
And Brittany is on the right. So you have the old, the evil, and now she is going to initiate the innocent newcomer into her role. I have
this
never
is why I go to the next shot.
You told me, And I began to see the significance of this.
And then she comes out dressed as a bride.
As a bride, yeah, she's the bride of Satan in a sense.
Right.
Absolutely incredible.
Now, where did she come up from? She was a Mouseketeer. Come on. Let's get to Walt Disney here. Move on a little bit, Shag. Because, Walt Disney, people, here she is as a Mouseketeer. And it wasn't just her. It's oh, God, I forgot all their names now. I don't listen to pop music.
Funicello, but I know that there have been several recently.
Yes.
As Mouseketeers. Well, in Disneyland, there is a club that's been established that you and I don't think will ever be invited.
Probably not.
Only the elite are able to come. It's Club 33.
Interesting.
Yeah, 33, of course, is the highest initiate level of Scottish Rite Freemasonry, and there's Club 33. Of course, Mr. Disney himself, Walt Disney, and his brother Roy, they were Masons, Freemasons.
Well, most people don't recognize, let this play, that Disney World is, go ahead and let that play, Shag. Disney World looks like a whole fun bunch of rides, but what we actually have here are a number of rides. Now, I grew up in Orlando, and we got a number of rides that are sponsored by military-industrial corporations. Mm-hmm. And so when you save your thousands of dollars and go to Disney World, all of that goes straight to the military-industrial corporations. Exxon has a dinosaur ride. RCA, hold that there. RCA has those Space Mountain, and when you come off of Space Mountain, it shows you exactly what the future's going to hold. It shows you getting your learning from television on the computer, and then as you're finally exiting Space Mountain, it shows you on television.
You on television? Wow.
Big Brother is watching,
in my book, Ravaged by the New Age, some years ago, which exposed the occult, and it's really, it's grabbing the minds of our kids, our children.
Yes.
I had a picture in there of Michael Jackson. Now, this is before people knew that he was a pedophile, a predator, and I believe he is. And there was Michael Jackson as Captain EO.
Right.
They showed the kids one of the rides, one of the prominent ones. They actually had a little motion picture, I think 13 minutes long, of Michael Jackson. He was really dressed up like some kind of a satanic guy, but they called this Captain EO. Right. Now, interestingly, if you go back and you study the Babylonian, the Greek, the Roman, the worst of the secret societies, you will find there was a character named EO. That is a name of the devil, EO. Right. And Michael Jackson was Captain EO at Disney World.
Right.
So
and Oz was the lowest level of hell.
Oz?
Yeah.
Well, now, the guy who wrote the Oz books, Baum, B-A-U-M, Frank Baum, was very much into theosophy, into the occult world.
It's rampant.
Yeah.
This was something I had noticed. Now, magicians are heavily into mirrors, all right? They love their mirrors and their little mirrored tricks. Even the cover of that new book with Dan Brown that I finally read, the mirrored reflection. The Da Vinci Code has a mirrored reflection on there. Well, if you look at the mirror reflection of CNN, I see WD. Oh, there it went. If you showed that into a mirror, it would say WD, Walt Disney. Now, in numerology that I've been studying, W, I found, relates to the fallen angels. That's what W stands for. And D, which is a symbol of the goddess, D, Deleth in Hebrew, means door. So CNN or WD would be door of the fallen angels.
Wow, that's incredible.
Isn't that crazy? There he is making his right arm, right angle. Well, he's behind you, but yeah, see that he makes sure the right arm.
His first movie was called, feature-length movie, was called Fantasia.
Go forward.
And the music score was written by Igor Stravinsky, who was a down-and-out hardcore occultist. The movie was so evil in its form that it was not a commercial success. It was a total flop because it actually frightened people.
Right.
And the movie was so patently evil, they had to actually put it on the shelf.
Right.
Now, about 40 or 50 years later, only in the last decade or so, they pulled it back out of the vault again and dressed it up just a little bit and gave it general distribution. Now you can get it at video stores, Fantasia.
Absolutely.
It's interesting. In other words, they say now is the time. People back then, the kids had not been propagandized by television. They don't know about Mickey Mouse as a magician, a sorcerer.
Right.
And now the magic, you see. So the kids had not been indoctrinated into magic. But now they're ready. They're ready for Fantasia.
Right.
And it was re-released.
Bill Clinton said that in his 2000 speech. He said, "Our children are ready."
They're ready for the new age.
They're ready. Yeah.
Wow.
Now, just to give you a little example, here in the Littlest Mermaid, or the mermaid story that Disney put out, in that castle in the background is a penis. Go to the next shot.
I'm sorry to say that. It's disgusting. But you're right. They have changed
That is
the fairy tale castle and given it
a penis. I mean, it's right there. I mean, I hate to show it, but these guys are phallus worshippers.
And what we have is the sun image. See all the sun images there, the shining sun, the color even. This is the basis of Freemasonry and the secret societies and the Kabbalah. It is a sex cult.
Yes.
No wonder Madonna would gravitate.
Yes.
To
Brittany, back to Brittany, and there she is with her serpent.
Now she has a white serpent. Mm-hmm. Now remember again, she came in with a white, wearing a white dress and the wedding dress. Here, the snake, that would indicate that she really is a follower of white witchcraft, the right-handed path. Right. But of course, that's not true. There's no such thing as the right and left-handed path. You're either into Satanism, witchcraft, or you're not.
Right.
But they like to think that.
To me, this manipulation seems like a form of rape. I mean, really.
Really?
Just to tear the veils. Wait, go back. To tear the veils and force mystical events to occur.
Oh, I see what you mean. Well, they schedule all these things and everything, even the presidential inauguration oftentimes, all the elements of it, even the Bible that they give the oath from is from St. John's Lodge in New York City, a Masonic lodge. Everything is steeped in occultism.
My father's ritual Bible. And I heard that when Ronald Reagan was going to take his oath of office, his wife couldn't hold this heavy thing. So they substituted a different Bible for him.
Yeah, I don't know if you'll get this, but people look at this. It says Holy Bible, and it looks just great. But down here you have the square and the compass and the G inside.
Yes.
And this is the male, and he's mounted over the woman, the square.
Right.
And it's a diamond. The Hindus talk about the diamond in the lotus, which is a sex phrase, because they practice tantric sexual yoga in the Hindu faith, and there the word G, which the Masons will tell you means God. Then later they tell their own Masonic people it means geometry.
Right.
But then in the deeper levels of the secret societies and Freemasonry, you find out that it means the generative act. In other words, sex.
Right.
It's a sex cult.
Based in Kabbalah. Go ahead and keep going here.
That's a Sephiroth there.
Yes.
The 10 parts of the Kabbalah.
And there's our goddess of the pentagram.
Now the tarot cards is interesting because the tarot cards, all of the tarot cards are based on the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet.
Right.
Here we get back again to the Kabbalah. And all of the tarot cards are based on those.
And this is how you can decipher a lot of the corporate logos, through the tarot.
That's true. There are many artists have done different variations, but they're all the same. You have the Joker, you have the magician,
right?
The goddess, really. That's very fascinating.
Keep rolling. Yeah, this was Venus with the pentagram, and our goddess Columbia with the eye. Now, what I found interesting as I started to think about it, Jack Blood had asked me, well, what is it with the eye? He's like, we got this cult of the all-seeing eye. What's the eye symbolize? Well, I didn't have an answer right away. So, of course, I had to go digging. I was like, wait a minute, now I got to be able to answer that question. Well, ayin, going back to Hebrew letters, ayin, the Hebrew letter ayin, means eye. Mm-hmm. But in the tarot card, go to the next shot, the ayin, means devil.
Wow.
That is the Hebrew letter I, the Hebrew letter ayin. So the I is the devil.
that would make sense. God himself, in the Old Testament, Moses asked him his name. He said, my name is I am.
Right.
I am that I am. And so the devil, wishing to take upon himself, being a pretender, the stature of God, then would try to steal the eye. And since it says, the eye is on the sparrow, God's eye, he would say, well, I am the all-seeing eye, not God.
Right.
I am the all-knowing, omniscient God myself. And, what a devilish lie that would be.
Yes. Yes. Right, so here we got to the trusted choice and the whole idea of these guys being reverent. Go ahead and
okay, now look at that, though, for a moment.
Right, hold
you
on.
have our mighty president, and there, this sign is behind him. And, that must be some corporate logo or whatever. I don't know what it is.
Right, I don't know what it is either.
But what company it is, the trusted choice, there's a little R behind it, meaning it's a registered trademark.
Right.
But you see how the whoever filmed this, and it was this probably on television or whatever, or probably magazines and newspapers had this picture. The subtle idea is planted in people's mind.
Yes.
Here we have people being programmed. He's the trusted choice.
Yes.
You
can have faith in W.
Recently, in one of the major magazines, was a picture of Bush, and right behind him was a huge mural of Jesus.
Yes, I think that's coming up.
Okay.
Let's keep rolling with these, because, well, I managed to take this one downtown.
Okay.
That's our favorite little bass player downtown, but I thought it funny
and he
because
has a crown on his head.
He has a crown.
Yeah, you can stage these things. See that?
You can.
You've shown exactly.
I did that, yeah. So here's Bush with a crown.
Given a little hand
halo.
sign of the unholy Trinity, perhaps.
Right.
And then we have, he's a crown. He's a godlike man from the Olympia.
No, yes.
I mean, he's...
Yeah, keep going. And the Pope with horns? Now, that one I think was just a lucky shot.
Yeah, well, it could be, yeah.
Maybe somebody
But
saw it.
after they take the shots, though,
That's
remember,
true.
in these magazines, they have art committees,
Yeah.
photographic committees. They choose photos, especially on the covers of magazines. A whole committee sits and says, what are we going to have this week for the
Right.
cover of our magazine? So even though this was a lucky shot, perhaps, it was chosen for inclusion. A little sign there.
Right, very good point. So this was just a representation of the halo, and then go to the next shot, and well,
There we have the God man with a halo, the sun halo, the sun god
yes,
of America.
Yes.
Looking very somber and very like a deity.
Now, he just is right now trying to pass a bill saying that Wicca is not an acceptable religion in the military.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they just now, actually the pastors in the military, I meant to bring this article with me, but the pastors in the military actually have a code in their books saying, well, yeah, they can practice their Wicca.
Their handbook.
And they sit over and watch it, but now George Bush is saying, well, I don't think Wicca is really a form of religion and can't be allowed in the military.
Well, that must, I think this is something, a little bone he would throw to his fundamentalist Christian. I'm a Christian, of course, but this is a little bone they throw to the fundamentalist Christians, and then they go, "Wow, this guy is for us. He's one of us."
Right.
And it makes his constituency happy,
Yes.
and that's it.
Yes.
That's it. But the fact that he is into witchcraft himself,
Yeah.
and a member of the Order in Skull and Bones, makes a mockery that he really would oppose witchcraft. That's just plain simple.
Yeah, I mean, he does witchcraft. Go ahead and keep rolling with that. They absolutely practice witchcraft. Open ritual, doing it right there at the temple in the tomb, as we were talking about last time we were together. Doing these rituals where they recount their sexual acts, and yeah, they're absolutely practicing magic.
Now, I don't think that's George.
Is that not George?
I haven't seen a photo exactly like that recently.
He looks awful like it. Go to the next shot.
Although Time Magazine had Clinton.
Yeah, I think that's the same guy.
Oh, yes. Okay, there's, okay. We say.
I think that was the same guy.
Now, some people would say that's the UT symbol. But of course, that's an impossibility because of the thumb sticking out. That's not UT. It's not University of Texas Longhorn symbol at all.
Not to mention all the ones we went through last time showing many of these people are not UT people at all.
No, there's our gal.
Yeah, given the old...
and by the way, some of the surfers use this sort of a hang, they call this the hang loose thing.
Hang loose,
but it can also be used as a satanic. There's a lot of confusion in this area.
Yes.
Over that symbol, the El Diablo, or the horn god Satan.
Now, here are just some humorous shots I found. I'm not exactly sure what's going on here.
Yeah, we don't know. That's a terrible shot.
I think that's a skull and bones ritual being enacted in front of us.
Isn't it interesting they would put this in a magazine?
Yeah.
Or what are they telling us? It's disgusting in a way, but what are they trying to tell us?
I don't know.
There. And yet there are many rumors out about George W. Bush being bisexual. To be very frank with you.
I wouldn't be surprised about that either. Most of them
And they gave press credentials to a guy who turned out to be, was not qualified at all. It takes 20 years to become a member of the Washington Press Corps and get in the official briefings of the White House spokesman, but a gay man who was had a website called hotstuds.com
Really?
and had him totally naked doing sexual things, inviting people to call his phone number there in Washington, D.C. for a good time. They gave him, Karl Rove, and President Bush gave him credentials to get into the press room, and he became a member of the press corps, even though he was not even a newsman, but pretended to be a representative of Talon.com. And then there's actually pictures of he and Bush kissing, or I should say hugging, and Bush kissing him on the forehead.
Right.
I think that's very odd.
Yeah.
For him to be kissing the owner of hotstuds.com
Yeah.
on the forehead, and I have that picture in my collection.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
Well, like I say, I grew up in Orlando, and I know for a fact that 95 to 98% of employees within Disney World are all homosexual.
And that's why probably they promote the homosexual characters now. They're beginning to.
Yes, they do.
Even in The Lion King, said a couple of the characters were gays.
Bush fell off his bike there.
Got a little blooded. You sure Laura didn't take care of him on occasion?
Sometimes I wonder if he's just shape-shifting. This guy, I mean, come on. What are we to say about this man that's been railroaded into the presidency? You know, I knew he was going to be forced into the presidency because his nickname was W, and I already had deciphered the meaning of W. And so from that, I said, well, W is going to be president no matter what, and it would be even better if they forced him into office, because what they're doing is killing our reasons to fight. They discredited Bill Clinton with the whole Monica Lewinsky thing, even bringing up the cigar, which they would have never done any time prior. But we were supposed to lose faith in the man, the president. We weren't supposed to have any faith in our president. That's why they put him in there.
I see what you mean. So they degraded the office of the presidency.
And then
railroading. Bill Clinton had to be part of that.
Yes,
because he himself. You know, it's interesting, at the very height of the Monica Lewinsky, and now we do know, by the way, even Netanyahu and Falwell has come out that they sort of plotted the Lewinsky thing. She was a Israeli Mossad operative.
Really?
And they plotted this out.
Well, they knew he was a coke-snorting womanizer. I mean,
and they put her in the White House and gave her a thong and said, let the president see it. Work late and let the president see it. And I have a picture of her and her mother visiting Jerusalem and giving Masonic their signs.
Really?
That you can see. Yeah, so they had even practiced these things. I don't know, to go over there and get favor from their gods, the Kabbalistic gods.
Right.
Lewinsky, of course, is Jewish. And did you know that they called her in the press, the Jewish press, called her another Esther?
Really?
Yeah. Clinton evidently was not giving Israel everything that they wanted. And he and Netanyahu had a lot of arguments over this. And so they decided to disgrace him.
Well, that brings up a question for me. Now, let's move to today. And we've got this whole Israel connection, and we see it constantly, blatantly in front of us. And what's going on right now in the world with Iran and the Israel Yeah, I'm pretty certain that America is going to back Israel, as we always do, and that the Soviet Union will back Iran. I'm really concerned that this might become World War III.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think Russia is very much in the camp of the elite Illuminati, and Putin. He really doesn't have much place to turn, much room to maneuver in, because Russia is owned today by the Jewish oligarchs. Mm-hmm. And they fight amongst each other, but they own all of the oil, all of the natural resources, all of the industry and corporate structure of Russia. Right. It was all turned over to them by the communists. Yeltsin was himself secretly Jewish. And it's interesting, Zhirinovsky, the guy that came out and was going to run for president, the Russian politician, turns out that he's Jewish too. But he's the guy that railed against the Jews.
Right.
So you see, they have both sides, and they bring in the Hegelian dialectic.
This is why they have the two towers, the two columns, the black and white checkered floor. All of these are symbols, even the double-headed eagle.
Now, Putin, at a press conference, he was criticized by some of the members of the Western press. He said, if you don't like the way I run the presidency here in Russia, we'll just give you a circumcision and send you home. That was Putin's statement. We'll give you a circumcision. How much more Jewish could a statement be?
Right.
I've never had anybody threaten me with a circumcision.
Right.
That's an incredible statement. Maybe he was railing against some Gentile newsmen. I don't know what he was saying, but I have that statement in that press release in my files. So, but they create the illusion of differences.
Right. That was.
But I don't think at all that there's a problem there. What happened in Iraq? Russia said, "Oh no, don't go in there. You know, Saddam Hussein is our client, our friend. We went in anyway." And what did Russia do? Nothing.
Right.
We went in Afghanistan. So I think that the Russians are pretty putrid right now. They don't have the capability. They are controlled by the same Jewish elite.
Right. Well, I expect Third World War to be set up. I got this little quote here from...
Well, I believe that. I believe it could be a religious war, though, and it's already begun, perhaps, with Iraq and Afghanistan, the Muslims. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, no, it's fine. This was just a little something that Albert Pike had said, that he wanted to foment the Third World War by... between the Zionists and the Arabs. And then he says the conflict, World War III, was planned to spread worldwide. The Illuminati, said the letter, which was written back in 1871, planned to unleash the nihilist and the atheists and provoke a formidable social cataclysm which in all its horror will show clearly the turmoil. Then everywhere the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world delusioned with Christianity, whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without direction, anxious for an idea, but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer. Now, this was his statement on World War III back in 1871.
All right, so he said we're going to have 3 world wars in succession. Right. The last one, said Pike. Now remember, he's the greatest man of all secret societies. Right. The former sovereign Grand Commander of Scottish Rite Freemasonry. He designed their 33 rituals, right, for example. And we have already shown his classic textbook. His tomb is literally in Washington, D.C., at the international headquarters in that building.
Yes. She told me it was haunted.
Yeah, the House of the Temple. Yeah, we discussed that the last time we met. Now, the Third War, as you read, they said, would culminate. It would be a religious war. Mm. Even though they would unleash the nihilist and the atheist, it would be a religious war. Now, what do we have gathering steam now? We have the Arabs, the Muslims world, and George Bush has infuriated them.
Right.
Insulted them. And all of these photos coming out about Abu Ghraib and all of those things are to infuriate, to drive them, these cartoons and everything. and we're killing these people indiscriminately over there, murdering them. We're putting them in places like concentration camps without any pretext at all, no trials. We're worse than or bad as Hitler in setting up gulags across the world. Now, the Muslims are infuriated. Who do they hate? They hate the Jews. But wait, they hate the Christians. Why? Because Bush says, I'm a Christian, and God has told me to go over and kill you people.
Right.
Now, at the same time then, the Christian right wing is led by Falwell, Dobson, Robertson, and all of them are saying, go over and kill the Arabs.
Yeah.
Mohammed was nothing but a pedophile monster, and now let's go kill all the Arabs. And I actually have a Baptist, one of the top Baptists who's written many books. I got his newsletter, and guess what the man said? He said, I think it would be good for all the Palestinian youth to just volunteer to take a bullet in the head and lay down and die. This is
That's an evangelist?
An evangelist of the Baptist faith saying these things.
Oh my God.
His name is Dr. Samuel Gipp. And I think I'm pretty close to what he said,
Right.
but I'll be glad to quote it exactly. But basically said that he had seen a Palestinian youth take a shot in the head. He said, that's good. I said, lay down, boy, and die. Good, that's good. Now, see, this is monstrous. This is not what Jesus would do.
No.
I don't think Jesus ever called for shooting anybody in the head
No.
or spearing them or anything else. He said, turn the other cheek.
Right.
These people are false Christians. They are satanic monsters pretending to be evangelists and pastors. But guess what? They are telling Bush the Jews are God's chosen. God wants them to have the land. Drive the Palestinians off of it. Take their land, take their businesses, take their orchards. What does it matter? God wants this. And Bush says, I'm doing this for God.
Right.
And now we have the Christians who will all be hated because their leader, Bush, and their evangelical leaders all say, go kill the Arabs, Muslims, take the land for the Jews. The Jews are God's chosen people.
Right.
They're like gods on earth. Let's put them on the pedestal. They can't do any wrong. Now many in the Christian religion, the right-wing Christians, are actually saying the Jews don't even need Jesus.
Right.
They're abandoning Christianity, favoring. In fact, I've seen people like John Hagee, Cornerstone Church in San Antonio. He actually says that the chief mission of Christians today is to make sure that Israel keeps their land. Now, I thought it was to save souls. I thought it was to reach people. I thought it was to go help the downtrodden, the poor, and poverty. I thought it was to do the works of Jesus. But these people come forth and saying, I'm preaching here.
Hey, great job,
But you know
brother.
what they say? Our mission is to make Israel a superpower. Our mission is to give them billions of dollars every year in support. Our mission is to make sure the Muslims don't get the bomb, even though Israel has 400 nuclear weapons as a minimum.
Right.
At their, all produced in their own Dimona plant. And by the way, they were given the plans for the atomic bomb, just like the Russians were, by Jewish spies here in the United States.
Right.
So we've given the atomic bomb, nuclear weapons, to Israel. How would you feel if you were Iranian, you were Syrian, you were a Muslim sitting over in Libya, knowing that people who hate you, who say they're superior to you racially, sitting in Israel, have 400 nuclear bombs, and they have aircraft that can deliver the bombs, and they have nuclear submarines that can shoot missiles with bombs and kill you instantly. And I have a quote from a Hebrew professor at Hebrew University, I should say, Jewish, who says, if the Europeans don't do what we say, we'll nuke them too. We can topple the capitals of Europe with our nuclear bombs. If I were the prime minister of Iran, you know what I'd want to do? Develop a nuclear bomb.
Right.
He has said over and over, this prime minister of Iran, I'm not trying to favor the guy, they're trying to make him look like another Hitler.
Right.
But what has he said? Israel has the bomb.
Yeah.
We are threatened. What are we going to do? And he has actually said, we will not produce a bomb, a Muslim bomb, if the Jews will give up all of their hundreds of bombs. And everybody says, oh, how terrible you are.
How can you ask that?
Why, how can you ask such a thing? You horrible racist demagogue, to make Israel give up their bombs.
Yeah.
It's not enough that America and Russia between us have 50,000
Right.
bombs and favor the Jews. I don't think Israel has a problem of being run over when they have the entire United States military as their proxy.
Right.
And Bush saying one of our priorities is to be right there and save their bacon in Israel. I just think it's amazing that the American press, nobody mentions the fact that we should get rid of all the bombs. Am I a pacifist? Am I a left-winger? No, I'm not.
Right.
To be very honest with you, I don't vote Democrat. But you know what? I believe that.
Yeah.
If we want to say Iran, no bomb. Syria, no bomb. We should say Israel, no bomb.
Right.
Totally denuclearize. Why is it that people like Noah Chomsky and all of these people that claim they're against the New World Order, why don't they get in the streets and say, Israel, give up your bombs? And Iran, you two, don't build any bomb. I don't want Iran to build a bomb.
No.
But I want Israel to give up their bombs.
Right.
And, it might not be a bad idea if the United States and the Soviet Union gave up theirs, too.
Right.
By the way.
I did a little research on the HARP project, which is the new missile defensive shield. Mm-hmm. And in us enabling that missile defensive shield, America has officially backed out of the Strategic Arms Limitation Treaty. Because we now have a force field, which is against, mutual destruction. So the HARP system, we'll have to get to that some other time.
Maybe another time.
Yeah.
We're on symbols and goddesses.
Yeah, I might have opened a can of worms there that didn't need to be open right now.
And Codex Magica, my new book.
Yeah, so let's throw this out here. You guys, check this book out. It's getting rave reviews. People were talking to me about this in Tucson.
Oh, I'm glad.
I was just there for the Gem and Mineral Show, and people were awaiting their order anxiously, and I'm like, oh, you got to go download the show, You can download the Tex and I's last show on the internet. Just go to the freemanperspective.blogspot.com, which will be at the end of the show here, and you can download our last show where we covered the different hand signs and gestures that the Illuminati use right in front of us. We covered Jerry Seinfeld and Pat Robertson.
All giving secret signs. They're hidden codes, mysterious symbols. Yeah, this book has over 1,000 pictures. It's over 600 pages. And it's based on literally 2 decades of research, but particularly the last 5 years have been very concentrated. I think this is the book. If somebody, they don't have to read.
It's
this
explosive.
Like 10 videos in one.
Right.
And it will show they are all giving these secret signs to each other that are communicating on TV and radio. In many ways. By the way, I'm seeing on the screen here, boy, you've got some tremendous images. That must be from
that's
Denver's airport.
Exactly right. Wow. I stopped by there and decided to film that real quick.
Wow.
It's amazing work. Obviously.
Did you notice on little pedestals high up in the ceiling?
There
would be a little devil.
The little devil, yeah.
You're just walking down there, and way up there, there's a 60 feet up, there's a little, maybe not that much, but there's a little pedestal.
Yeah.
And there's a little devil god up there.
Yeah.
Overlooking you.
I got a picture of one,
inside
but
the new airport.
Probably won't make it to that. There was one sitting in the luggage area in the airport, and it's sitting in a suitcase. It's a little devil sitting there in the suitcase.
Yes, I remember that.
I couldn't believe it.
It tells you a little bit about who put that together. And there are many rumors, that it goes down many, the basement levels. There are many levels, 16 floors underground.
Right.
And some strange things go on there. Satanic rituals, human sacrifices. I haven't been able to verify those, but from the looks of some of the things you've been seeing on the screen here, some of the murals, and we mentioned the statues, it's an incredible place.
It is all about death and devastation. And rumor has it that in the new world, when we've got this new world order, if this actually occurs, I'm hoping that it won't, but that Denver will be the western capital of America, and Atlanta will be the eastern capital.
I can believe that. They have what they call ley lines, and they believe the earth emanates. There's a grid, and power forces come up.
Right.
From the underworld, and there's energy forces unleashed. And Denver is considered to be one of those areas. I believe that's why Pope John Paul II visited World Youth Day in Denver and Colorado Springs. He first came from the Vatican and visited the Mayan death sites, the pyramids down in Mexico. And then he flew from there right to Denver. What a connection.
Yeah.
What a connection. Human sacrifice there and then to Denver.
Wow. You know, I believe in these power lines myself from a simple reason that when I travel, I find that people that just, you know, I travel without any compass. I just go and I let the great Lord take me wherever I end up, right? And I always end up, and most of us travelers end up in the same town that are heavily Masonic. You know, we get there just by circumstance, by, you know, following the energy that's leading us, and they put their temples there on purpose to the perfect east, west, north, south directionals.
Well, you know, it would be an interesting thing because, frankly, the devil is an intelligent being. The Bible itself talks about he had great beauty, he had great intelligence. One of the leaders in heaven, he was chosen for his intelligence, his cunning, and really that's why the whole system of the Illuminati and the secret societies is based on gnosis or knowledge.
Right.
And I can say, you know, many of the great inventors throughout the decades and centuries have been occultists.
Yeah.
Theosophists. And I believe that demons give them certain intelligences and give them ideas.
Speaking of that,
so I can understand that if the concept of the ley lines is real, it might be something that we don't know, but yet Lucifer has known it for hundreds and hundreds of years.
I was going to show off my video because I actually have a portion on that.
Do you have it there? Yeah.
I don't have my video here. I left them in the other room, I guess. Well, you guys definitely, you know, I've got a 3-hour-long video, and just get in touch with me at blueflyfree@gmail.com. And I'll hook you up with the video. It's 3 hours. It's the first 6 episodes of the Freeman perspective. It goes into corporate logos, the occultic meanings, and all of that good stuff.
Now, what is your web site, the address again?
It's thefreemanperspective.blogspot.com.
Okay.
I'm working on getting one that's just like freeman.com, you know.
Well, we're gonna link you if it's okay with you. We'd like to link you on powerprophecy.com.
Absolutely.
So
you're linked on mine.
Just look for the links, and if you're not, you will be there tomorrow.
All right.
I'll have our webmaster put you on there. And so they go to Power Prophecy, go to links, and then go right to yours.
And if you come to mine, then you can look, and there's Power Prophecy linked to mine already.
I appreciate that, but you just go right to the links and go right to yours too.
Absolutely.
We'll put you on there. So you'll see the Freeman perspective and the rest of it there.
Because there are very few people like us. There are very few people that I've come across that are uncovering this level of the ritual that's going on. People, you know, they believe in the whole, well, yeah, there's a secret society conspiracy occurring, and these men give themselves secret handshakes so that they know one another and then they can help one another. Now, all of this is true, but there's the whole other level, the biblical level, the ritual, magical level that they're performing that most people just, well, the atheist and the nihilist, they have no concept that this is even something that's a possibility.
That's right. They don't believe in a magical world.